So the Federal Reserve wants to let inflation run hot for a while. I think it's kind of funny. I'm not going to go into the whole speech. I just want to talk. There's nothing really new that we found out. Everything's kind of as expected when it comes to what Jerome Powell has said. And yeah, I think it's kind of funny though, just the attitude that the Federal Reserve has towards inflation. I remember they used to try hard not to have much inflation and limit inflation, and now they're trying hard to get inflation. I think that is kind of funny and just a big change in attitude. And now they're saying how they're going to let inflation run hot for a while. And it's all about the 2% long term, which we all know inflation is a joke. CPI is not telling the full story. Now, cost of living, that has always been there too. Basically, it's kind of a joke if you ask me. The whole cost of living way to determine inflation and all of that. Cost of goods makes a whole lot more sense because it measures these goods over time, as opposed to, oh well, if we take this one, the quality's better, it's twice as good, therefore it never actually went up even though it cost twice as much. Let's just say it's twice as good, and there you go. Kind of funny. I think it's kind of a scam to measure inflation that way. We all see prices going up, we all see asset prices being inflated, we see commodity prices being inflated. It's something to think about. Nobody likes to think about assets, investment, things like that in terms of inflation. It's all about what's in the grocery store. And just a side note though, I am very happy with how this pour came out, all the ripples, all the everything. And yeah, I just had to say, I am extremely happy about this. And yeah, stamped on the back. And yes, definitely one of my favorite pours that I've done. And I'm definitely going to be keeping it in the stack for a while. But I want to keep making more pieces like this. Make more pieces like this where it's just kind of like a mirror. Have to make sure my face is behind the camera. You might see my hair, but I don't care. Yeah, I think it's just a kind of different. How the Federal Reserve, how central banks are looking at inflation nowadays as opposed to the past. So have people like Paul Volcker, who used to be all about stopping the inflation, limiting the inflation. A lot more moderate of a way of doing things than you have today. Nowadays in the markets with basically, as Alan Greenspan would say, irrational exuberance is taking place in every index that I could find, pretty much. That's not to say you can't still find value. I just see it as that is inflation when you have everything rising in price. I don't know about you guys, but my grocery stores, they might say it's 0% inflation, whatever, but the prices have all risen on everything. It's noticeably gone up on everything over the past year, and yet they're claiming 0% inflation. So now, could you imagine what 5% inflation would look like if this is the rates of how much things are going up in price at basically 0% inflation? Even 2% inflation. If this is the way that they're measuring things, we're getting 0% inflation nowadays. Just imagine what 2% inflation looks like. Something to really consider. There's definitely some funny ways of a lot of funny ways to measure inflation. And there's good reasons why people want to keep it low. Tax brackets. Yeah, tax brackets. How much are you going to pay in tax? The bracket should be going up. But no, inflation's 0. So we're going to tax people making less as if they're making more. Pensions. All this stuff. Many countries measure it to inflation. A real thing to think about. And what if this is 0% inflation? What does 2%, 3%, 4% inflation look like? What does 1% inflation look like? Just my thoughts on everything going on today with Jerome Powell's speech the other day. I'm just seeing such a difference in attitude from just a couple years back. What a change. From go back to a decade ago and then to today. What a change. We were in a crisis a decade ago. We have the pandemic going on today, but what a difference. And I'd love to know all of your guys' thoughts, your guys' opinions on all of that. What real inflation might look like if we have a CPI calling it 2%, 3%, 4%. I'd love to know. So comment down below. Stay positive. See you next time. Thanks. Bye.